Hello everyone, let's see if I am live. I hope I am. Everything should be set up on this side, and we are today going to cover one of the most exciting matches that I can think of, which is Alliance Val from 333 against 317 in the Doomsday match. So far, not every single player showed up. That being said, I'm quite sure that due to how exciting this match is, it's probably gonna be one of the top matches with every single player on both sides. On the blue side, currently we have Val. Val is an alliance that's a 3 times champion, and they have fought before in a lot of reservoir leagues and never lost a single match. The closest match that I've seen so far was in one of their first matches. In the last reservoir league, their matches were actually uh, had a difference of an average of 400,000 points. 317 was one of the matches that they fought previously. They are 2 times champions. They're very strong contenders as well. They tend to be heavily organized, so I do believe that this is going to be a match of the giants that we're going to be facing right now. So, we are starting, having a 1 minute match to go, and we will see what's going to happen in this match. As an alliance, it's a free time. So this match will be specially contested in the solar power station in the beginning, as that is one of the matches that one of the places where most of the top alliances focus their energy in the beginning. The reason for that is that solar power station reduces the amount of time that you take to take completely a building. So it is part of a lot of strategies, as it's you have to either instantly start a rally whenever someone contests and take the building back from you to not give them full points for occupation, or if you are not controlling it, you have time. If the opponent is not controlling it, you have time to prepare to fill, because they will take 3 minutes to take a building in, and this means that they are able to prepare. They're not able to prepare properly to a very short attack that you're going to be handling. So in this case, let's see how the match is going to play out. Hello, Norfolk. How are you doing? We already have a few players that are already speeding in for Solar. As I mentioned, Solar is one of the buildings that are going to be fought right now. But efficient alliances, as you can see in the first seconds, are all rushing in every single building. You see news of every single building being fought for. Right now, the bottom side is mostly handled, or at least was before going, by the red side, while the top side is mostly handled by blue side. How long will this last? I guess we'll see. Seems like for now, even though that this is not necessarily this distinction, that the red side is taking a slight advantage. As you can see, this is Bella's. For those that know who Bella is, Queen Bella from the Bella Discord Alliance. It usually gets you guys a lot of the codes, or at least they compile them. They are the ones that are fighting Val right now. So it is a match of alliances that are actually very strong into the game. We have 3 buildings right now in the top side for Vol, and we have 5 buildings in the bottom side for 317. And it looks like they are completely filling the solar power station. I wonder if that is actually going to work on. They are starting to fill some of the buildings that they have control right now, but we don't seem to be able to check a lot of the contestants. Seems like one of the rallies bounced in the bottom right side. Communication is key. As you can see, also a lot of players are starting to try to reduce some of the players that are getting in. And Tokugawa kicking out Queen Bella from the building. Seems like right now they have 3 minutes to try to take over the building, while a lot of the other buildings are gonna start to get resolved very soon, in close to 30 seconds. Because as the event opens up in minute 57, it means that the first occupations are gonna be around minute 54. Actually 53 and 50 seconds or so, but still it's a good way for you to have an idea on what you're doing. Always keep eyes in the timers of what everything is going to happen in events like this. Like in a few minutes, specifically in 8 minutes. Sorry, in 9 minutes. One of the buildings in the center and the other two buildings are going to open up, and this is going to spread the forces of our alliances in both sides. This will mean when that happens that the more organized and more power they're able to spread around, the more dominance that they will have. So RL, be it the Doomsday RL or even in other RR matches that you can think of, they do have a lot of phases of where you fight for content and for dominance. And in those phases, each one of the dynamics that you have with your player is different. So in the first one, usually you're competing from the top with the top players for with high alliance and power. In the second one, although you have that on top, you also have to spread your joiners and other people that are in the team. So because you're not fighting for the same amount of buildings anymore. Instead of being fighting for 8 buildings, you're actually fighting for 11. On top of that, in the first part, in the third part, you also start fighting for water tanks, and then individually, not only with also rallies. And this means that you have to have coordinations to attack with your members to be able to have dominance in those places. One strategy that a lot of alliances use for that is that they have timed rallies with the rallies that are going to be hitting the buildings. This means that if a joiner or someone that is being in there decides to stay in the building or to stay in a march, they are gonna get burned. Hello, Roxy, how are you doing? Welcome, Roxy. Welcome, Pokey, to the Pokey District to the stream, and I'm glad to have you two here, as well as the 21 people that are still watching. And it seems like now we have 4 against 4 buildings, although one of the buildings that are full control by one of the buildings is not in full control by the Vol Alliance. And actually, that's my mistake. You have 3 against 4 with one building being contested on the buff side, but being held by the Blue Alliance, which is Vol. 317, however, is fighting hard in the right side right now. One of the rallies just bounced. And Dame Dulac is actually holding strong that left side. They are also 317 not backing down and fighting and taking down some of Vol joiners by burning them. This is going to be interesting to see who is going to move to the center out of the two alliances and how are they going to handle this situation, because either they'll have to spend a massive amount of speed ups to go to the center or they're going to relocate it. It will open in roughly 6 minutes and then another pace is going to be set up. Seems like right now that Queen Ella is getting people into... No, it's Queen's Lair, not Queen Ella. Queen's Lair is getting a few people to try to rally Tokugawa. We'll see how that's going to be played out. And you have a lot of movement going for reinforcements for the other rallies that are happening right now. What just happened, which is sharing the coordinates of something that you want people to reinforce or to do in chat, is also super important. The reason for that, it's quite simple. Because if you do that, you are able to communicate without voice chat to people that are in there to also be able to respond. That being said, the more organized alliances that are in events like this, they will also have some Steam set up with specific roles for every single joiner. Hello, Tarzan Storm. Hello, Grain Roxy. Again, thank you so much for saying that you are around here. Tarzan, nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying the event, Tarzan. Dom Dulac started to attack Midna from 317 with a rally. And it seems like the center is going to be open in 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Seems like Queenslayer started to use her cannon right now, probably to capitalize not only in trying to fight for the solar power station, but also the center if needed. A few rallies and solo attacks are coming through, and let's see if that is going to be enough for it to bounce Tokugawa off. Some players seemed like after the rallies got their troops sent back. But it's quickly being reinforced again. Another rally has been started by Queenslayer, and now a lot of people were joining. They are being scouted to check how many troops are in, and we got some reinforcements for with a relocation that comes in either to start a rally or to join them with rallies. It's quite possible that they might try to do a rally, and they're gone. I feel like a South Park sketch where people actually go and are gone as soon as you start commenting about, hello, Jacob, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. This is one of the biggest events in State of Survival. This is the Doomsday. And it is one event where two alliances face off at a 30 versus 30 match in this field that you're watching here in the screen right now. And they are fighting for the glory, for the prizes, and for everything to be the best alliance in their group. We are actually right now watching two of the top alliances in the game to fight for the championship in this. Hello, hello, AR Sav. How are we doing, Seven? Seems like the bottom side was taken over by 317 again. Good morning, Jordan. We have that amazing and glorious catch picture from Hunter there holding the building. And it seems like people are reinforcing due to the fact that they are being rallied right now. I wonder if they are going to have enough stats and it's going to bounce, or they are going to be contesting that building as well. That processing plant has 2,370 something water right now. You have to keep in mind that whenever that building is taken or contested again by the other team, the water is going to be spilling the second that it does. It spills randomly around the building, and that score is taken from the alliance. And speaking of which, let me something here really quick. That score is taken from the alliance that is actually holding the building into the and it's given to any alliance that pick down. So assume that you, hello Secrets and Science, welcome. Assuming that you never pick any water, you are actually losing in terms of advantage, not in terms of necessary points, double the amount of water that is in the top of that building. Let's say Toku loses the building that is solar power station right now. This means that the other team will get back in terms of the difference in score that they have, 1,600 points, due to the fact that 800 points would be removed from ball and 800 points would be added into 317 if that happened. Not only that, but right now we have Queenslayer trying to burn a few of the players that are around Solar to get less joiners to be able to fill the building. And Tokugawa looks like Tokugawa lost the processing plant top 3 in the top. 10 seconds for the center to be opened up. That timing of that rally up there is actually a very important timing, or a very good timing to attack, due to the fact that as forces are split out, having to respond to that while having the center being contested and sped up and everything in it's a little bit harder for you to organize, and that gives you time to have, especially if you're not holding solar, some of that time, as we were mentioned before, that you need to be able to have full control. And why full control is important? Full control is not only important due to the fact of that you're gonna get the amount of score that is in the building per minute. Full control is also important because every time that you do have full control of a building, you get the score that is in the top of the building in the map saying first time occupation. When you do the full occupation of that building, you get that score to your points, which is what makes solar so powerful. Because solar reduces the amount of occupation that you have. So if a building is going back and forth, and you can only hold it for, let's say, 2 minutes in each side, because it's very close in terms of stats and everything else, this would mean that one of the teams of while holding the building is getting a first-time occupation, and the other isn't. And this creates a great dynamic around power station, meaning that holding power station is going to be pushing the things into your direction and your rhythm. Matches in Reservoir League, be it Doomsday or otherwise, but especially in Doomsday, is all about rhythm. It's about you going with the ebb and flow of the 5 buildings that you're fighting for to make sure that you are also able to read your opponent's movements and react to them. Strategy is super important, but being able to strategize is being different than having a plan. Because having a plan is and sticking to it and not adapting, especially when things go wrong, it's usually when alliances panic and start struggling to come back from either when they are behind or when things are going in a way that is not expected for it to be. Seems like Queen's Lair having a rally against Tokugawa, and Jim is also having a rally against Marmy. But Jim's rally is there's not a lot of people joining, and I didn't see the heroes that are going there. This is also a battle of the giants because it is showing us the power of limitless heroes in many cases. And look at that rally capacity, 1.537 million troops. Seems like that right now, Val has around 5 buildings being held by completely uncontested Chu, and Queen 317 has 4 buildings. So while this is a match that Val have an advantage, it's only a 30,000 advantage. This is still a match that can be turned over by good gameplays from 317. What would happen? I guess we're gonna have to check out, especially because gathering nodes are gonna be opening soon. Oh, I said that the reason that solar power station is important is due to the fact that people are. It looks like Tokugawa got full control in the top buildings as well. The reason that is important is because they are if they are being fought back and forth, and no one can control them completely, and you can only hold for, let's say, 2 minutes because there's 1 minute of walking and 30 more seconds and things like that to start, or you're starting 2-minute rallies. That means that one of the alliances will get score for the first time occupation and another alliance will not. And this will mean that they are going to still be behind every time that you take full occupation of a building. Looks like Tokugawa right now started a huge rally. A huge rally. A rally of the size that you've never seen before. And it's gonna try to take Queen's Lair outside of Solar. Will it work? Guess we'll see it right now. A bunch of reinforcements are coming for the center. Center seems to be full. Sorry, not center. Solar seems to be full. And as a response, seems they are going to try to burn some of the players that are around in Solar, including Queen Ella. Tokugawa took Solar Power Station as well. and right now is being reinforced. That's what happens when you play long enough, Roxy. Of course, these are rally leads that put a lot of time, effort, and money into the game. But I know of a lot of players from older states that have like 1.3, 1.4 million troops as rally capacity. So of course, you can't compare the amount of troops that you have in your own building, in your own settlement. Right now, we have a 38,000 points advantage from Val. And in around 3 minutes, we are going to open the water tanks. And when the water tanks are being opened, this is going to change the dynamics a little bit. And a lot of the players that are around the buildings are going to have to either relocate there or start sending their marches to hold some of the water tanks. And each water tank gives you 240 points. So you can imagine how many points are going to be contested after this due to how they work. Hello, Nelly. How are you doing, Nelly? This is a battle of the kings and queens. Especially because 317 has a lot of queens right now. So in one more minute, we will start having the. In one more minute, we will start having the water tanks. And seems like people are reinforcing gate, and Val is probably leaving some of those buildings and not contesting them to try to leverage the advantage of the water that is on the top of that. It looks like our gracious host and Seder Survivor are sharing some lit emojis on chat for how many troops are being having to go to the hospital right now due to all this burning. Yes, my beard is completely real, as you can see. It has a different color from my hair due to the fact that my hair started to go gray and not my beard, but my beard is completely real. I am Lezardfleck and I'm hosting this match today. Nice to meet you. Hello, Candy One. So it seems like a lot of the red players that are trying to stay around the center are being burned right now. As long as you hold the solar power station, you will be able to keep the buff. The moment that you lose power station, the buff is gone with it. Oh, I am not playing this game. I'm just broadcasting and commenting in this game right now, Nelly. So I definitely do understand the feeling. It's hard to be in the leagues of these guys. They're super strong players. Not only that, but power is not everything. The level of organization that they tend to have in this alliance is insane. Artberg currently holds the center. Artberg is one of their top players in the center right now. Alireza Vazy, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Seems like 317 is still holding, trying to contest the top buildings in the left side, and they are sending either a few rallies or marches to attack the top right side, where fire is holding up. And they just kicked off Val from the center. I wonder if Arberg already started a new rally. But there's going to be a lot of water spillage there. And this may just get the match a lot closer in terms of score. As you can see now, a lot of players are starting to go around and try to hold some of the water tanks, and this is an opportunity for people like Monkey King to go and take down a lot of the players that are fighting for those. We have currently 4,560 against 2,760 points in score. So this means that if this keeps up like this, they are going to be having a slight advantage gap that's going to be growing and growing. Hello, that's the info. I'm glad that you're enjoying State of Survival that you played for 1 year. And I'm glad that you learned a lot from the game. Let's hope that you can learn something from this match and be entertained as well. That's the goal of these matches. This is currently a test for when the matches are the match feature and their coverage is going to go live. And in the top right side, it seems like 317 already kicked again another building from Val. Ardberg with the rally takes back the center. And this match is starting to get a lot closer in terms of how many points each team is getting. Uhtred and Dumdulak are holding some of the buildings with people around, and it seems like Matri is actually fighting for some of the water tanks and trying to kick the players that are in the water tanks in her region. Most right now of the water tanks, however, are being controlled, it seems, by the blue team, with I think 3 being controlled by the red team as well. And the buildings in the center and in the top, as they are going to be taken for full occupation again, is going to show that difference in the amount of points that are going to be holding in each team. But it seems like Dame Dulac lost the building, the bottom left side. A few rallies coming through back to try to take over. Not rally, marches, sorry. Again, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Desi. Seems like Salan is starting to use his cannon. The reason that the cannon is used in this opportunity right now is not only to cover this specific part of the match for the buildings, but also to cover some of the contesting that you're going to have in the final part of the water tanks. As the final part of the water tanks happen around the 16-minute mark, but things start to become less spread as some of the water tanks also disappear around that time mark. There are 3 times actually, when people go and use their synergy attacks or their cannon, as some players call it. So The synergy tactics can be used right in the beginning if you want to basically take over and hold some of the buildings. It can be used around the 45 mark, or it can be used around the 30 mark, and things in between there, but those are the main markers that you're going to be doing for. The goal for those is either to be fighting for specific buildings or to be able to spread around and to fight for some of the water tanks if you are a joiner and your stats are not being used necessarily, but you want to protect your water tanks. In this case, however, it seems like we are having a bunch of rallies coming through to Power Station. Let's see if they are going to be able to fight. Enforcement is coming through. Right now, the building only have 1 million troops. Will they reinforce in time to fight for it? Seems like they already started to march, both the solo attacks and the rally. It seems like Queen's Lair was able to take the building, but can she hold the building right now? Jordan, I cannot comment and confirm or deny, but I can say that features are on the go to make the experience of streaming this into YouTube and to you guys are being developed to make you feel better. I cannot talk about what they are, when they're gonna be released, but I can confirm that the things are gonna be improving with time and eventually. So keep on tune and these events are become more and more not only at a professional level but more interesting and engaging to you guys to watch with time. That being said, we need to test how these are going to be done and do experiments ourselves and how they are presenting things and how interesting things are and how many people are interested in watching and so on and so forth. It seems like even though they are right now having a big amount in points, that the score is still neck to neck with only 30,000 points in difference. That being said, the majority of buildings that had water on them was spilt. So there, you do not have a lot of buildings, especially from the blue side, that you can spill water from. That would make red team to be able to catch up. Speaking of which, one building just got spilled, which was Munitions Factory. Is one of the last few buildings that actually could spill water that had a lot of occupation time. And this means that as there are some red buildings that still have water on the top of them, that it's going to become very, very hard for 317 to actually be able to turn this over. As it's the 26-minute mark, another set of water tanks show up in the map. The way that water tanks show up in the map is that every section of the map has extra water tanks every time that that you get into the 6-minute mark in each of those minutes. So the first time it is at 36, the second one is at 26, and the last one is 16. So if you remember the 666 numbers, you will remember when the water tanks show up. So you have 45 minutes when the center opens, 36, 26, 16. Hello, Gene. How are you doing? Welcome to have you in chat, Gene. And seems like a lot of the water tanks are already having people going through them. The main difference between water tanks and buildings are these. The water tanks are not rallied, so they are fought solo. So you have to have some players that has some okay stats to keep holding them, even though they may not be the top player. They still have to have good stats. And also, they get points the second you reach them. While buildings, you have to have full occupation to get points from them. So every single second that you delay in sending a march to it, or you don't speed up or something like that, you are losing points. Of course, this is an economy movement thing. So you have to know how much you want to use of your speed ups, or how much you want to use of your troops in terms of how many marches you're going through, to have an economy of movement that is healthy for you to basically be able to move other sides and to keep your role while actually holding the gathering tanks that you have to. Because as a whole, the gathering tanks give you an insane amount of points, up to a point where you get, like, if you hold the buildings and the water tanks, over 10,000 points per minute. That being said, if you're not able to do that before by holding the buildings, you're gonna struggle to spread your forces thin and still do all the points that you're gonna be able to. Ardberg is able to take the center back. Seems like right now Val has 5 buildings, and 317 has 5 buildings as well, and center is being contested, so no one is taking points from it. So the majority of points, as you can see, are from water tanks. Look at the amount of points that they have here in the top, that each team is getting in the top. While Val is getting 7,440 points, and 317 is getting 336, 3,220 and 360. Gonna keep seeing them going back and forth with those water tanks. And the difference between those alliances is mostly right now in how much they're fighting for the water tanks. So do not neglect the water tanks from whenever you're doing your own matches. And it seems like we have a party here fighting for these water tanks, speaking of which. Salem do not want the red team to hold that tank. Seems like they have a triple rally going to the center. Will Ardberg hold? Guess we'll find out right now. We do have an almost full rally, but it's only a 1.4 million rally. Salem now is holding the building. So we do have a timer in the screen of when some of the marches or a rally is going to hit. Or in this case, start walking. It is going to hit now. It bounced. In 1 more second, another hits. Bounced again. And it seems like most of the things that were coming towards the center bounce. Good job for holding it. That being said, while they were holding center, seems like that 317 took munition, and this is how you know that the team is of high quality when they are fighting for multiple fronts and a very in a very organized way, and they are trying to never back down and to try to keep up with at least having the same difference, if not getting closer every time. It is starting to become harder and harder as people are very spread around. So it seems like Val is gonna open up their wings right now and be able to take and sweep with most of the water tanks. That being said, so far the match has been very, very, very close compared to how one-sided you can see matches. Val has been ahead consistently, but they have been ahead for 30,000, between 30,000 and 40,000 points for the whole match, up to close to the last minutes when in the 26 mark, especially when the more water tanks showed up. And it's going to become even more interesting when the next set of water tanks are going to show up, which is at the 16-minute mark. And it seems like they have not given up on trying to take solar. Right now, a bunch of singles are being sped up for solar. And it seems like Queen's Lair was able to hold. Will she be reinforced in time, though? They see a bunch of blue lines, but I don't see any red lines coming to reinforce solar. Are they only trying to take the water from it, or do they intend on holding it at the moment? Guess we'll see. Talan is going around in some of the buildings that are having a lot of lines coming through, either from rallies or from water tanks, and they are taking them down. Seems like there is being a back and forth in the top left side. Blue top left side just went blue at the moment, and now red. This means when none of the alliance is having complete control, that it takes 3 minutes for you to hold all the buildings. Center right now was just flipped by the red team. This is going to mean that it's going to have some water spillage in the middle. Spree 17 is putting a very hard fight to not let Val try to push their advantage as high as they could. I have to keep in mind that once you pick up the pace and you have like 8,000, 9,000 for a while points, it's hard for you to catch up, or at least to even hold consistent difference of points. And here they are pushing every single thing that they can in the red team right now to at least keep around the 70,000, 80,000. It's going to be very hard for them to turn over, because you would have right now to have a 5,000 difference in points in terms of how much you would be getting per minute. So mathematically, it's almost sure that Val is going to win this match. But it's not about only winning or losing. It's about trying to get the score as best as you can for your team. Not only individual scores, but also scores regarding your match history. You have to understand that as any championship, morale is super important. And if you have a low morale because the score was super high or super low, it's going to affect your future performance. And how can you have low morale due to the fact of having a high score? It's quite simple. A lot of people sometimes get complacent, and they are not hyped into keeping and doing their best in terms of fight. So their morale are not as high as it could be, so because they're not into it. But if the matches are always putting in a way that you can have your team do their best, and in some cases this is going to be by having it the highest score you can, and in some cases it is having the closest match you can, you are going to have a better performance in the long run. And as Val is holding almost 10,000 points right now per minute, I think it's a safe bet to call due to the difference going to almost 100,000 points that this is going to be a Val game. Even if they do take over most of the buildings, they're not going to be able to take over all the water tanks as well with it. So it's going to be bad. It's going to be very hard for them to take back. So most of the buildings that are, and looks like Val just got another few occupation in the center, which gives them 4,500 points. Like right now, the majority of the fights are being done in some of the water tanks, although some of the buildings are being flipped. Unless you can fully occupy a building right now, it's you're gonna get a bigger amount of points if you're just going back and forth with water tanks. As long as the buildings are being flipped, it's very hard if you were not holding before for you to get the amount of the points that are going to be required, especially in a match like this, to try to flip over things. Which is why in some cases you will see things like what happened right now, where alliances end up even leaving some of the buildings open up in a case like this, like they did with the dev compound, because the dev compound just gives 240 points, which is the same as a water tank, and your efforts from different alliances can be better used in some of the other water tanks as well. Especially as it would take 1.3 or 3 minutes to hold it, and you can be holding a lot of water tanks or burning other players while you do so. Again, it's all about economy of movement. Some cases it's going to be worth it, in some cases it will not. It depends on either the timing of when the match is or when the things are there. I'd say that the match was more sided to Val, because Val has been 3 times champion of the Reservoir League, but that doesn't mean that 317 was a pushover, as they were the champions of 2 times before. Considering Val history with scores, I'd say that this match was a very contested match to how they usually are able to fight. It's not very common that I see them lose in matches, although I've seen they lose some matches, and the matches was glorious to watch because they were super close. I don't think so. I don't think there is a chance for a comeback right now, Roxy. Not only because of the score, but also the time. As you can see, you only have 11 minutes back, and the score that you're gonna get is based on how many minutes are left. As in, you get 9,000 points per minute, you get 2,880 points per minute. So let's say that they got like 11, 12,000 points per minute right now in the red team. So 10 minutes, 11 minutes actually with 12,000 points would put them right behind where Val is right now. And this would mean that they have to hold literally everything back to have a chance of being close and score that they have right now. So imagine this. Even if the entire Val team got disconnected right now, 317 at this point specifically would struggle to take the lead. Still some fighting going in the bottom left side. Looking at the minimap and understanding the minimap is super important. One reason for that is due to the fact that you can see not only when what is being held by who, but also when something has been attacked. And it seems like Val turned over this building that still had a lot of water spillage. It looks like they want to push their advantage even further. And the red team responded very well with some people going for the spills. There's also 15,000 points. And there you go. Some people are also going for the water spillage. Here in the bottom left side, mostly the blue team right now, although some water spillages are gonna be taken over by the red team. And as you could see, the advantage was even was solidified even further now. The advantage that was before around 120, 130 points, now it's around 180 points. Looks like Selen really wants to burn Ella. There are still some fights going back and forth in some of the buildings. There's one more building which is in the bottom right side here that has 14,000 points, and this is also a valid strategy. If you know that you shouldn't be stretching yourself too thin to fight some of the buildings, letting the opponent hold it so you can flip the water in the last minute is a way for you to either push your advantage back, pushing back advantage, or to pushing your advantage even further. So we do have in the water spillages right now around 20,000 points that can be taken from the red team. And if that happens, it's going to push the difference to over 200 points in difference. Even depending if they get all the water spillage, close to 250,000 points. That's the thing. Even though the Val has assigned points, I do think that they're trying to get every single point that they can from the board. From the way that they played previous matches that I watched, they don't like leaving anything in the field behind. So they are going to capitalize and try to decide those buildings that are in here and to get the water spillages from every single building that they can in both of the buildings that still have water. As you can see right now, they are pushing for this one. And let's see if the bottom right they are gonna try to flip it as well for water. So 6 minutes left. They are trying to flip the last building to get the water spillage out of that one as well. And they just flip. Sadly, right now we cannot watch how the water spillage is going in there. But we can look in the score to see who is getting the water spillages. Seems like the blue team is getting most of the water spillages right now from the amount of score that it is, although they lost center and they lost 5,400 water in there. And they're pushing the advantage to 2,500 points. Can they get enough water spillages from the rest of the battle right now to keep it up? And the cost of those relocators are starting to scale. Right now it costs at least to Selen 5 relocators to move. As it's only 4 minutes for the match to end, as you can see, some of the buildings are not being contested as much as before. Khalifa just flipped the building for the blue team. And Arberg flipped the building in the top right. Seems like Val is trying to end the match with holding every single one of the buildings. They are also fighting for every single water tank around them, with some of the players linking in chat, others that are trying to hold the water tanks. So there are 2 water tanks, 3 water tanks that are red right now, and also all the buildings right now is being contested. It seems like even though from the marchers that you see, some marchers are walking through, that the red team mostly gave up at this point, the last few minutes. And would you look at that amount of score? "50 seconds for them to hold here the solar power station, but only 3 minutes for the match to be over." 317 is pushing back in 2 of the buildings. One of the water buildings in the bottom right, and also in dev compound. Tokugawa, however, responded in dev compound right now. Full control of the center, which means that they got 4,500 points. Look at the size of that monkey. Monkey. Seems like Toku responded in the bottom right side as well, but they are not. They just flipped, as I was gonna say, they just flipped dev compound. Seems like they want to be holding every single building by the time that the match is over. They're not giving up a single point, even though that right now the other team doesn't hold solar, and this means that they wouldn't get the points. They want to put. It seems like they want to push the advantage as far as they can, up to 300,000 points. Will that be possible? I guess we'll see. We only have 1 minute left. As it's an 8,000 points difference, I do think it's going to be possible for them to flip enough points to get to 300,000 points of difference. As we've seen that with 317 had a lot of queens right now, it seems like Val was the guillotine to take them down in this match. Be funnier if they had French flags. So the only building right now that is being held, and not anymore, was Helipad. 3 seconds for the match to be over, and the difference was 305,000 points. It's like Valhalla got the second win in a row, which means it will go up. And 317 Did not. They're probably gonna be staying the same level right now. Roxy, the answer that I can give you to that is this: we are testing the features and a lot of features regarding live streaming right now to make sure that we give the best experience to all players. So I think that while they will post the official live stream soon enough, right now as they are live streams that are being tested, they might choose to not be to make them unpublished instead of publishing them directly. And thank you for for the suggestions of me and the praise of me and Doc having good chemistry. I love streaming to you guys, you know that, and I love streaming with Doc as well. Right, make sure we're not exposing our friends here. And I hope that you guys enjoy the stream. I wonder if we are going to talk right now to the champions. I have to talk with production to see if they're interested in us talking to the champions, and we can talk to the champions, the winners, and we can talk to them to see if they are willing to give us a quick interview if production is interested in that. If not, I will be ending the stream. It was a pleasure to stream to you all. I hope I can see you guys next time as well. Have any question, comments, suggestions, complaints? You can either leave in the comments or you can reach out to me to see if I can pass on your feedback as well. Feel free to. I'm Lezardfleck. And make sure, before anything else, to like, comment, and subscribe for the YouTube videos if you like this type of content, and let the developers know if you like this type of content, because this is a way for us to keep going and keep doing content like this in the future. So if you like this, make sure to let them know so they keep doing content like this and bringing you guys. All right, as we